an Excelsior Studios original production. Throughout this podcast, sensitive subjects such as sexual assault, eating disorders, and suicidal thoughts will be mentioned. Listener discretion is advised. And throughout this podcast, sometimes I will use AI to bring real social media posts and messages to life. While the voices you are hearing are fake, the words they are reading are 100% real, and I will be sure to point them out to you, even though I know it's annoying, so that you don't get confused and so Megan can't sue me when she gets out. So you thought we were done with Megan? You would be wrong. So before we get into Megan's antics in jail, let me explain why we weren't done with her. As you heard in the last episode, Justin and I were ready to be done, but not everybody in the group was. I mentioned previously that I spoke to a pastor that Megan had scammed last summer, who told me that Megan's only hope for getting better was probably going to jail and being forced to reckon with what she did, away from the people she had scammed. The problem is once Megan went to jail, she didn't stop reaching out to the people she had scammed, or the people who had scammed her, like Justin. She called Justin twice the day she was brought in, and he decided not to call her back because it was never our intention to stay in contact with her, and to be honest, after the nonstop Yanni messages, he needed a break. He felt that continuing to speak with her would be rubbing things in. There were people in the group who were open to conversing with Megan, however, and I've already gotten comments about this, so I think you have to understand where the group was at as a whole when Megan went to jail. First and foremost, people had been following Megan's antics for years as if she was a reality show. And for the final season, if you will, they were getting near daily updates on her antics. Frankly, it felt weird to quit her cold turkey. There were also group members who worked in the jail or who had family and friends in the jail that Megan was serving time in, and they would give updates from time to time. On the day she went in, I remember an anonymous post in the Facebook group that said that Megan was already causing problems in jail. No one knew how Megan would react to the Yanni scheme. You can't blame us for being curious. Finally, members of the group had worked to expose other crimes that Megan committed over the summer or before the summer, but she had not yet been charged with these crimes, namely the Tesla saga and the money she stole from Tom. So at a point, there was talk that if people spoke with Megan, she might give up some details about those crimes, which could be passed along to the prosecutor in each case. So while Justin and I originally said we wouldn't be communicating any further with her, curiosity killed the cat about a month after Megan was arrested, and on October 5th, 2023, Justin downloaded an app that lets you text with people in jail and send her this message, which is read by AI.
Hi, Megan. I've heard jail has been very rough for you. I want you to know that's not what I was hoping would happen. I'm sorry it's been so rough since I turned you in.
And Megan called him multiple times that night, which turned into a whirlwind of a few weeks of being thrown right back into the Megan drama, as if the Yanni scheme never happened and Justin and Megan were longtime buddies. So on this week's episode, we're going to get into what those 3 weeks were like, because those 3 weeks include some of the craziest things Megan's ever done, and because I think it'll help you understand why many of us don't believe that Megan is going to change. I'm Amanda, and this is Don't Waste This Effing Podcast, the story of Megan Stoner.
Hey, sorry I keep missing you. I'm home the rest of the night.
That's AI of Justin's voice again, with a message he sent her the next day, October 6, 2023. She had tried calling him multiple times the previous night, late, as well as that day, and Justin works a normal job. He was also getting used to the fact that this might be starting up again. What did he get himself into? But at this time, she seemed happy to be talking to him.
Hi. Would you please add money here so I can message you? I've wanted to die daily. You've actually given me hope. Can we message? I have no one. Can you text Leo and tell him that I'm messaging him here?
That's the AI voice of Megan, and see, she seems fine. But Justin didn't reply because he had a migraine, at which point she got nasty.
Can you add money on here so we can message? I guess that's a no. Thanks for rubbing everything in my face. I'll block you now. I'm missing a funeral this week of a family member. I hope this is fun for you. Please leave me alone and my family. You're a snake. You lied to several people saying you had my bank account info. I was going to do this for Tom. You ruined it. My mom will be spending the money now. Thank you.
That's our Megan that we know and love. That's the AI voice of Megan, all sent between 1 and 3 a.m. Does this pattern sound familiar to you by now? Megan went from happy to extremely adversarial very quickly. She was sending tons of messages late at night, just like she did with Xavier. She mentioned Tom and that she had money to pay him back, but she'd allow her mom to spend it instead of paying him back, which we were never going to be able to leave alone. Everything's happened so fast, we were off to the races. There was no getting off the ride at this point. A few things to note so you understand where things are at in the Megan saga with these messages. Megan was arrested on September 9th, 2023, and these texts with Justin began about a month later, on October 5th and 6th. So she had some time to sit there and realize what had happened and think about what she had done. Megan had also been speaking to a few other community members at this point, namely Alyssa, who you'll remember from this series.
And the fact that I continued to talk to her after she went to jail was even more emotionally draining on me. She would call me 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 times a day. And at the time, we're all recording these calls because everybody wants to know, like, what is Megan's daughter doing in jail?
But Alyssa wasn't just reaching out to Megan because she wanted to gossip. Alyssa had planned to reach out to Megan pretty soon after Megan went in, and she told Justin and I it's because she wanted to come clean to Megan and kind of own up to her role and everything. And that wasn't the only reason.
And my mom, of course, is in jail with her, and my cousin, of course, is in jail with her, which is just the craziest thing ever. So my cousin actually just got out, and we had a long conversation the other day about Megan, and she said she continues to manipulate in jail. She continues to give this sob story to everyone. She continues to want everyone to feel sorry for her. She's trading her meal trays for chips and stuff because she refuses to eat actual food. She's only eating junk. You know, my mom's texting me saying that she's messaged you from the jail app, and she's saying that Megan accused one of the correctional officers of sexual assault. And my mom doesn't even know Megan. So for her to say these things to me, it's almost like, she doesn't know her character. She can't speak to her character. So she can only tell me what she's hearing on the inside. So seems a little right on par for our Megan, you know?
Being that Alyssa had family serving time in the same facility, she understandably wanted to reach out to them to warn them not to fall for Megan's schemes should she keep them up in jail. And imagine how frustrated Alyssa was when she found out that not only was Megan maintaining her manipulative behavior in jail, but she was acting like a victim, saying it was all some big witch hunt of people after her and that charges were just this big misunderstanding. I believe Megan had been telling people that she had the money to pay people back. And if that was the case, obviously that money should have gone to Tom, as it was probably Tom's money in the first place. So that's a big reason I believe Alyssa continued answering the phone when Megan called. Megan may have exchanged a few texts with Alex at this point as well as calls, and Alex's reasoning was similar to Alyssa's. She wanted to get intel on the Tesla situation and the Tom situation. Ultimately, Justin reached out to her again because curiosity killed the cat, but also to see if he could get any intel on these situations as well. By the time he had reached out, Megan knew it was Justin who turned her in, and she had known for about a month, but I don't think she knew about me at that point. Megan was being held in the Hamilton County Community Corrections Facility for violating her bail agreement for 9 felony counts of fraud, theft, and corrupt business dealings at this point. But she had other warrants out for her arrest in Anderson County and Madison County, Indiana as well. So if Megan was able to post bail or was released from jail, she would have just had to go turn herself in Anderson County and Madison County. About 2 weeks after she was arrested after the Yanni scheme, she had a hearing about her bail revocation on September 18th, 2024. In her hearing, her attorney requested Megan be released on her own recognizance, citing her mental health diagnoses of PTSD, bipolar disorder, and borderline personality disorder. He cited these as the reason she missed the court dates in July and August. He also cited that she had a suicidal ideation or suicidal attempt while in jail. Megan and her attorney said that she would get outpatient treatment while awaiting her trial date, which was set for December of 2023. I have a few clips from the hearing, but the quality is not great, and thank you to the community member who recorded these. You know who you are. But here's what Megan had to say to the judge about her failures to appear.
I just wanted to apologize to the court and to your honor. I learned my lesson from being in jail, and I'm sincerely sorry for the disrespect I've shown them for not being here. I'm really grateful and may allow us have a chance. I believe I can show the court that I've learned my lesson and to be a better citizen of the society.
So while Megan apologized, the prosecutor argued to revoke her bail entirely because of her previous failure to appear, and he cited the fact that she had been charged with multiple additional crimes since her initial arrest in April, and he said that the documents she submitted to the court about her mental health concerns were hearsay. He argued if the judge would reset bail, it should be set for a higher amount of $50,000. Her initial bail was $25,000. Then, the judge shocked us all and said this.
While I agree that jail is not the best place for you, I don't know that there is a better alternative that could get imposed at this time. Therefore, I will show that you are demanded to custody of the sheriff. Pending the posting of a bond, I am going to set a bond for you. That bond is going to be an amount of $75,000 cash assured.
You'll notice Megan was using the same line she had used with Xavier earlier, that jail just wasn't the best place for her given her mental health struggles. It wasn't convincing to us back then, and apparently it wasn't to the judge either. So after this hearing on September 18th, 2023, Megan had 2 to 3 months to wait until her trial date, and if she could come up with $7,500 and a bondsman who would give her the bond for the remainder, she could get out of jail and wait for her trial at her mom's house. However, if she got released on the bond again, she would have to take care of warrants out for her arrest in 2 other counties. So this became the basis of Megan's interactions with the people that she repeatedly called from jail. She wanted them to pay her bail. You heard me right. Not a care in the world that she knew a lot of the people she was calling put her there. Her delusion knows no bounds. She would call Justin, Alex, Alyssa, and others constantly, either treating them like her assistants, ordering them to do things for her, or outright demanding that they pay her bail.
For Megan, again, I had eye migraine last night and wasn't looking at my phone. I'm trying to figure out how to add money to your account. I can only figure out how to add it to mine.
ConnectNow.com, I believe.
Okay, I'm walking into work. I look at it when I get home tonight.
Can you text my mom at a screenshot of the new warrant out of Anderson? Thanks.
Megan, I won't be home until 10.
I don't know what to do. I'm being bullied. Can you please try to help me her in contact with my mom?
That is AI reading messages on the jail app between Megan and Justin. All of these were sent on October 9th to the 10th. Her demands would usually sound like this. She would either be asking somebody to reach out to someone else on her behalf, like Leo, the Yanni/therapist, or her mother, or her attorney. She might be asking somebody to look something up on her arrest record or her My Case, which is like the online courts record system for Indiana. Or she would be asking for money or to transfer money. So, a few notable things about all of that. First of all, none of us knew Megan's mother. So when Megan repeatedly reached out asking people to call her mom on her behalf, that in and of itself is weird, because none of us had ever conversed with her. And to be clear, when I say us, I'm referring to Alex, Justin, and Alyssa. There were a few others, but those are the main people that I talked to that were talking to Megan. I was never talking to Megan because Megan says that she doesn't know who I am, despite having me blocked on everything, up until this podcast came out. But back to Megan's mom. Gail, I have purposefully left out of this podcast, and that's because I know this is a sensitive subject for Megan, being that Gail passed away this past spring. However, it's impossible to tell this story without bringing up Gail, because Megan would constantly ask everyone to contact Gail for her. Megan had once confided in Justin that Gail didn't know the full extent of Megan's crimes until that bail revocation hearing on September 18th. Before that, Megan told her mom what she had told others, that it was all one big misunderstanding and that political rivals were out to get her. I mean, Gail thought Megan worked in politics or as a teacher all this time. Megan also said Gail didn't know what the Yannis were. She was under the impression that they were just therapists. I believe Gail had been communicating back and forth with either Leo or Haribo on Megan's behalf at some point. So eventually, around that bail revocation hearing or at it, Gail found out all about the type of crimes and how serious they actually were, as well as the type of therapy that the Yannis practice. So that's got to be a lot for somebody to find out about all at once. And I can understand Gail wanting to take a break from Megan after finding out that her daughter's entire life was a lie. Megan and her mom had always had a tenuous relationship, as it appeared on social media as well. A lot of Megan's past social media posts read like diary entries, where she complained about her mom. And then there were a lot of glowing posts about her mom and dad too. So given that there was evidence previously of a strained relationship between Megan and Gail, combined with us knowing that Gail had just found out a lot of information all at once, both about the legal troubles and about the Yannis, it made sense that Gail might be trying to take a breather from Megan. And it made it uncomfortable that Megan kept pressing people to reach out to her mom because, again, we didn't know her, and it kind of made sense why Gail might be taking a breather. Also notable, Megan constantly claimed to have a large sum of money sitting in a bank account somewhere. Sometimes she would say it was Tom's money, sometimes she would say it was a settlement from when her father passed away, and sometimes she would say it was in an account she had set up just to pay Leo, the Yanni. I'm sorry, I have to hold myself back from laughing here. It should be obvious that Megan did not have 5 figures sitting in a check account when she was failing to pay for her responsibilities for months at this point, but Megan is also irrational enough for it to not be outside of the realm of possibility that she would set up a checking account to pay to text a Yanni while bouncing checks to attorneys when she was in the middle of a trial for felony fraud counts. So when Megan would bring this up to Justin, to Alex, to Alyssa, to others, people would question her about this supposed money that she had sitting in a bank account somewhere, because we were trying to get to the bottom of that. And really, we were trying to get her to either admit that she was lying, or if it really was Tom's money, we wanted to get her to admit it so that he could sue her and hopefully get it in restitution. And maybe the most notable thing about all of this, which I just alluded to, it became very clear that Megan was playing everyone off of each other. So she would call Alyssa 20 times, and then call Alex 10 times, and then call Justin 10 times. And once she would get one of them on the phone, she would say something like, well, Alex said that this is what my sentence will be. Can you check my case to tell me if that's been updated? So she was kind of spinning this web up, and I don't really understand why she was doing this. Part of me thinks it was because she was trying to get people to keep talking to her. She seemed lonely in jail, and she seemed to want sympathy from the people that she kept calling, especially because she knew a lot of these people had to do with her being in jail. And if you're wondering how she could call people in jail, I didn't know this. But in the facility she's in, each cell block shares a tablet that they can use funds paid on their commissary to watch movies or to read on, or they can text and call loved ones. I think Megan's gotten better now, but when she initially got to the jail, Megan was not getting along with the other women in jail, and so she was in the handicapped cell by herself. She was the only person without a bunkmate, and that meant she had her own iPad to use. And Megan abused this privilege. Again, she would call people 20 or 30 times in a row at all hours of the night. It was getting to be exhausting. I was laughing when I was writing this episode because I realized that between Justin's first message to her and this next story, which is when she gets really wacky, there was only 6 days. So she got really hard and heavy really fast. You should expect that by now. But Megan was just kind of going stir crazy in there.
My daughter died. Thanks.
Your daughter?
Yes. Can you get me my public defender's address, please? It's on my...
You had a daughter?
Yes. When can I call?
I won't be home until late again. Maybe 9 or 10.
Could you Google public storage off of Greenfield Avenue and get me an address, please? My daughter's birth certificate is there. Noblesville. Never mind. Getting her birth certificate.
I have about 30 minutes now if you're free.
Give me 5.
That is a text exchange from October 11th of 2023, read by the AI voices of Justin and Megan. So quite the text for Justin to receive that Megan's daughter has died. If you are surprised to hear that Megan had a daughter, Justin and I were not, because we had already heard rumblings of this earlier in the day.
Hello? 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 Hey, how are you? I'm good. I'm on vacation, so I might lose signal. Okay. Hey, I have been digging around and I can't find that warrant. Could you send me a screenshot? I can try. Like I said, I don't have good signal. Why is everyone saying that your kid died? What? Why is everyone saying that your child died? Because I have a child that died. You have a child, Megan? Yes, I did. You gave birth to a child? I did, yes. It's normally how they come about. I think you are absolutely delusional at this point. Okay, well, that's fine. Could you send me, I think you're delusional about the warrant.
All right, I know the audio quality is not great on this call, but Alyssa deserves an Emmy for this, or an EGOT, or the world record. I don't, this is the best thing I've ever heard, and it gets better.
Okay, I'm definitely not, but let me tell you something else. You've never had a child, Megan. Okay. My attorney's office said there is not a warrant out for my arrest, so I am trying to figure this out. Okay, well, you should figure out what went wrong in your head when you thought that you had a child. Well, I'm not going to sit here and argue with that. Well, yeah, there's no reason to argue. You never had a child. You've never given birth to a child. Stop lying to me. Your kid died.
Yes, I have. Thank you very much.
Megan, you have lost your mind. Your other lies were crazy. This one's like, I'm baffled right now. And it's disgusting for people that have had children and lost them. You're not lying to me. Yeah, and you're lying to me about having a kid. I'm baffled that you would lie about a warrant. You have lost your mind.
I'm baffled you would lie about a warrant is genuinely the funniest thing I've ever heard Megan say.
Okay, well, call me back when you've decided that you didn't have a child. And your mind's in the right place. Okay? Well, I'm actually trying to locate the birth certificate as we speak. You're trying to locate the birth certificate of the child you never had. That's really interesting. Yeah, because the birth certificate is over in storage. This is the best thing I've heard yet.
So we are back to the storage unit. Remember that saga? Megan found a way to work that one in. She's smart. I mean, she'll work in what she needs to kind of loop the story in together. So in this case, she did the storage unit.
Do you have any pictures of your baby bump? So, yeah, I'm trying to figure out the warrant. The judge said I don't know what's going on. I don't know. Did I have a warrant out of Anderson? Did you have a child out of your vagina? Hold on, I can't hear you. Hang on, sorry. I gotta phone state now. Hang on.
So Alyssa sent that call, and there was a little bit more where they just went back and forth. Megan clearly knows she's caught in a lie because she starts laughing. But Justin was prepared, and he decided to play kind of good cop to Alyssa's bad cop and kind of try and hear Megan out and see what she had.
Hello?
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
So what's going on?
Well, it doesn't matter. No one's going to believe me, so I'm not 100% sure what to do right now. I really wish I could talk to Leo, but that's not going to happen, so yeah, I'm kind of stuck.
I mean, did your daughter actually die?
Yes,
I didn't know you had a kid.
it's a long story, and it has to do with a private adoption.
A private...
I don't care that no one... Yeah, my kid was adopted out. I had to give her up for adoption.
When did that happen?
almost 10 years ago.
10 years ago?
Yeah. And I was actually, Leo was actually helping me parent the last 3 or 4 months. I got involved in her life, and he was helping me parent from afar. And yeah, he has a kind of a messed up situation with his own kids, but he gets it. And I was trying to come into her life, and
So you heard all of this, right? Even though she kind of could tell she was caught in a lie, given that she was laughing on the phone with Alyssa, she redoubled down, as we know Megan likes to do. And she said, again, one of the funniest things I've ever heard her say, that Leo, the Yanni, was helping her learn how to parent this child. So Megan's claim with this story is that she got pregnant when she would have been about 15. She gave up this child for a private adoption. And after her life went to shambles and she was charged with 9 felonies, that is the time she decided to recruit her Yanni provider sex therapist to reach out to this 10-year-old to try and re-enter their life, because that's something that would happen.
Well, do you know what happened?
the parents, the people that adopted her, I talked to the dad. It was a car accident, and the mom and her got killed.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And my mom is finally helping me a little bit, but I can't even get my child's social security card number because it's in my phone, and the jail denied me access on Sunday, so I can't even get her social security card number to do anything. So I'm like SOL.
Wouldn't the adoptive parents
Mm-hmm.
have, the adopted parents
Well,
should
the
have.
dad is still in the hospital. I haven't been able to talk to him since Sunday. So I don't know what's going on. And it's all a clusterfuck. And I've been trying to sort it out for 3 days, and I'm getting absolutely nowhere with the jail, the court, anyone. No one's helpful. No one wants to do anything. So I'm SOL. My mom came down today to talk to someone, and I don't think she really got anywhere with them. But yeah, my mom was down here today, so.
Well, at least you were able to make connection with mom.
Yeah. It's
So,
been a nightmare.
what?
It's been a nightmare on Elm Street trying to coordinate, and
So are you, like, you said you were going to try to go. Is this the family member you were telling me about?
yeah.
So you're going to try to go to the funeral?
Yeah, if I ever get an in.
Well, I'm glad you went to Bible study. 'Cause
It
it's
helped.
like, yeah, I was going to say, I know you've been a person that's always been very into your faith, and so
It helped a lot, actually, yeah.
comfort in that.
I'm going to try to go to AA tonight.
Oh, yeah?
I mean, I don't really know that I fit the bill because I never drink alcohol, but I mean, why not?
Right. I'm just going to be transparent here and say that the story about the daughter, I'm really having a hard time believing. I've talked to a couple other people since I left work, and it seems like there's maybe some holes in the story.
Besides you. I have talked to no one. I talked to Alyssa for like 5 minutes.
I was going to say, you talked to Alyssa a little bit, and you messaged Alex as well, didn't you? And I'm just, like, in the interest of being transparent, just about where my head is at right now. I mean, a mom and daughter dying in a car accident is a story you've told multiple times.
Where to?
When you took out the Tesla in Abby's name. Maybe it was like her husband and her child or something, but there was a story about a child and a parent dying in a car accident that you told, which is why you had to go to Utah, or you had to be the one to get the Tesla in person and not Abby, even though you took it out in Abby's name, correct? Well, I'm just saying I've heard that from you before. I mean, I'm just telling you where I'm at. You know, you understand that there's a deficit here of trust because of, you know, the history, and I'm just being honest about where I'm at, and, you know, I'm just being honest. I don't know that the way you're talking about it and the way that you're, like, using it almost, like, I mean, to message me in the middle of the night and say, my daughter died, thanks. And then, you know, I mean, you posted on Twitter, you know, at the beginning part of this year that you and Jake were trying to start a family and that you weren't able to. And turns out that Jake's not even a real person. And, well, you said my partner and I, and then you told me the name Jake is Xavier or whatever. But anyway, you said that. And then, you know, you joined the Spice Girls moms group because you wanted to be a mom, but you said you weren't. So I'm very confused right now that you're bringing this out because there's a lot of conflicting stuff here. What'd you say? You're waiting on us to accuse you of murdering your child. I have not heard that yet. Do they live locally or are they, like, far away?
No, they're out actually by Leo. They're out in Cali.
Okay, and this is where, like, I'm just going to be honest about where my mind goes here, and just so I'm not putting up any fronts. You said you had to visit a dying relative in New Jersey so you could go and see Harry, and that turned out to not be the case. And now you're saying you have to attend a funeral, and this just so happens to be out by Leo.
I'm not going to California.
Well, you said you were going to try to attend the funeral, and they live in California.
I know. We're going to try to do something in Indiana.
Okay.
It's not going to be today or tomorrow, so it gives us a little bit of, can't make arrangements.
I mean, do you know how much trouble you're going to be in if this turns out to not be true? What? I mean, I'm inclined to believe you because, I mean, it's a hell of a thing to lie about, but you've also told some pretty big lies in the past. Lies that you told for years and then recanted. I mean, well, regardless of anything else, like, even if it was, even if it's a different family member and not your own child, I mean, if you lie to get out of jail and nobody's actually dead, do you know what that's going to do? I mean, like you said, you're going up against a judge that clearly is inclined to give a pretty hefty sentence. And, you know, you're wanting the prosecution to offer a plea. If this isn't true and you are just trying to get out of jail for a little bit, no plea deal. No, I mean, you're going to get a hell of a sentence. He told you when you called him on, like, you just happened to call him on Sunday and all of this has happened, so you have a weekly check-in.
Yeah, Leo was helping me get a fan, so...
See, I didn't think that's how private adoptions worked. I didn't think you could do that. Right.
I actually had a state lawmaker that pulled records from Department of Health for me a couple years ago.
Nicely?
A couple years, I'll tell you that much.
Yeah.
Probably, yeah, it's been at least a couple years, because he's been out now.
Yeah, he's been out for a while.
So, yeah, I mean, it's been a while, but yeah, he got these public records, or not public records, but he requested records from the Department of Health.
Well, I hate to say I hope it's true, because if it's true, it's a tragedy. But I surely hope this is not something you would lie about, sitting where you're sitting. I mean, it's
yeah.
Like I said, it's not going to be good for you if this doesn't pan out to be true.
And there's no saying the judge is going to grant my request anyway.
Even if you lie to the judge about this and he says no, you're still lying to a judge. Do you understand that?
Correct. Yes, I do.
Well, but you've lied on court documents before.
So this is where we were at. October 5th, 2023, Justin decided it might not be a bad idea to reach out to Megan over the Xavier stuff so that she could have closure, and he could too. But by October 11th, Megan had spun up a new lie that she used to garner sympathy from people in the jail and the community of people she would not stop calling so that they would keep talking to her. 6-day span between those two things. I know I played a lot of the call, again, so you can see how effortlessly she kept up this lie. I mean, Justin pushed back, albeit softly, literally calling her out, saying that she had used the same story previously. She had an answer for everything Justin said, and she wasn't done. While she was pretty calm talking on the phone during this call, about an hour afterwards, she began texting Justin hysterically again.
I'm in tears. I'm going to miss any type of memorial service. Can you please help me get out for this? Please. I'm in tears. I swear on my Bible. You're going to rob me of this.
How am I supposed to get you out? Also, how did I rob you of this?
That's AI of Megan's messages to Justin. So with that, earlier she talked to him invoking her faith, saying she'd been to Bible study and she was trying to change. A half hour later, she texted him swearing on her Bible that she had a child that died, and it was his duty to get her out of jail so she could attend the funeral. She was so convincing on this call, he's going to kill me for including this, but Justin believed Megan for a split second. He called me an Alex, saying, could this be the thing that adds up to why Megan is so messed up? She was forced to give up a child from a young age. Again, Megan is so convincing, yet bizarre with her lies. Even when they're unbelievable, it's almost easier to believe her, because who would make up such a thing? But talking through it points out how absurd it is. Under no circumstances would this be how a closed adoption would work. That a mother who gave up her daughter in a closed adoption could reach out when the child is under 18 to pursue a relationship facilitated by a Yanni practitioner after the birth mother was charged with 9 felonies. It's just not how that works. Megan called Justin a few hours later following up again, where he called her out.
So the story about your daughter,
Yeah.
Is it true or not true, Megan?
It's true, Justin.
So Megan was still doubling down at this point, and this was the evening of October 11th, still. 6 days after Justin originally reached out. Now, I'm not going to play this entire call because Megan was pretty distraught in it. In my opinion, Megan figured out that she had been caught and was using mental health as an excuse again. Interrupting your listening experience really quick here to thank you for listening. This is a completely independent podcast. I'm doing this all on my own, and so all of your support I'm so grateful for. If you want to keep supporting me, there's a couple ways you can do that. Please rate me 5 stars or like this if you're listening on YouTube or listening on Spotify or Apple. I have thousands of weekly listeners, but only 89 reviews. So please get that number up and rate me 5 stars if you think I deserve it. Also, if you want to support me, because again, I'm doing this independently, I have a link in the description to buy me a coffee. Nothing is expected, but everything is appreciated. Thank you so much if you decide to give. And if you want to learn how to make your own podcast about any topic, I have linked in my bio a course that I made that teaches you exactly how to do that. All of the people who have taken it so far have been really impressed and have started podcasts for their businesses or on topics that they're excited about. So if you want to support me or figure out how to do your own podcast venture, that is linked as well. But let's get back into the episode. And I want to be clear here, I am in no way, shape, or form saying that Megan does not suffer from mental health issues. I obviously think that she does. However, when it comes to this scenario, I think this is the first time in Megan's life that she wasn't able to use her mental health excuses such as PTSD, bipolar disorder, and borderline personality disorder as an excuse to get out of the consequences of her actions. I think when she went to the bail revocation hearing that I played previously, Megan really thought that she would be able to be released on her own recognizance in order to seek mental health treatment at outpatient, and that didn't happen. Once people began talking to her again, I think that she was just desperate for any way to get out of jail. I don't know if she planned to run again or if jail was just really overwhelming for her. I have no idea. But being that the mental health excuse did not work for her when it previously had, she switched to the next option, which was to leave for a few hours for a funeral. As soon as Justin explained to her, which was later in that call, which I didn't play, that he had known people previously who had been in jail and had left for funerals, but they were escorted by police. They were in shackles. They had to go to a legitimate funeral. Megan kind of backed off of that. I think that she really thought that she could just say that she had to go to a funeral and that they would let her out unsupervised for a few hours. Again, that is not the case, so as soon as she realized that, she kind of backed off. In fact, within a few minutes of that call where she was freaking out, she began texting Justin asking for other favors to get him to keep talking to her.
Hey, Justin. Can you help me with one small thing tomorrow, please? My storage got auctioned off. Can you call and find out who bought it? Justin, please help.
Megan, those are private sales. They won't give that info out to me.
I'm shocked you wouldn't try.
Or Megan, I am shocked. I just called someone from the group. They've been searching California police reports all night. They found no police report of a fatal car accident involving a mother and daughter fatality in the last 2 weeks.
I don't believe you. It would take weeks to get police reports.
No, it wouldn't. Every time you got a speeding ticket, we knew about it same day. A fatal traffic accident involving a 10-year-old child and her mom didn't happen in the last 2 weeks in California. We are
You also say I have a warrant when I don't. I may doze. Why would I believe the person that turned me in?
And those are the AI voices of Justin and Megan reading the conversation where Justin finally called her out. Obviously, the kid thing was always a lie. We knew that. But people wanted to close the loop on it. Like I said, Megan had kind of dropped the kid thing once she realized that she wasn't going to be able to get out of jail and run freely, but she kept calling people over and over and over and over again, 20 times in a row, a lot of the time very late at night. And just think about how annoying that is when you keep getting calls and Megan could only call out. Nobody could call her back. So if you're wondering why people kept conversing with her, that has a lot to do with it. She wouldn't stop calling. And at a certain point after the 15th call, it sometimes just made more sense to answer and tell her to stop. Because if people ignored the call, she would keep going. Another thing about these calls, they were really expensive. I think it's $10 for a half-hour call. Justin thinks he spent somewhere around $700 on calls from Megan up to this point. So people were getting sick of Megan. It was annoying to get so many calls throughout the day. It was annoying knowing that when she did call, a lot of what she was saying was lies, and they were expensive. So Justin wanted to close the loop on Megan, and that's one of the reasons he sent that text. Another reason people wanted to close the loop on Megan is they were starting to realize that she was playing people off of one another.
Thank you for using Global Tellink.
Hey, Justin. Thanks for doing all that to take my call.
Hey.
Hey, thanks for going through the payment menu to take my call. I know it's not friendly.
What's up? Oh, hold on.
Hey, I wanted to call. I don't know if anything's being said in the group right now, but I just wanted to call to apologize.
Hey, sorry, start again. I didn't hear that.
Yeah, I don't know if anything's being said in the group right now, but I wanted to call to apologize.
For what, Megan?
When I lied to you.
What did you lie about?
The kid.
You lied and said you had a child that you gave up for adoption and that it died in a car wreck with its adoptive mom, and none of that was true.
Correct.
Okay. What other lies have you told me? Because I can think of several just since you and I started talking. And frankly, I don't really, I don't even really know where to begin, because it's every time I talk to you, I then go back and talk to other people and I find out something you told me wasn't true.
So, great, Megan finally apologized, but this was all just kind of a part of what she did. She would finally realize she was backed into a corner. She wanted more people to keep talking to her. So she would do something like admit wrongdoing, because she can't admit when she does something wrong. But it was really to get other people to talk to her. And by calling Alyssa, Alex, and Justin and admitting that she had lied about the kid thing, she got them all to keep talking to her. So she would throw something out absurd because she knew if she said something crazy to Alex or Justin or Alyssa, if she called the other ones later, they would answer and ask her about the same thing. She would do this with the kid thing. She would do this with the solitary confinement thing. She would also do this with her attorneys. So she would do this where she would call Justin and say, if you don't call my mom right now, I'm about to accept a plea deal that will put me in prison for 12 years. Something absurd that Megan was never going to get that long of a sentence. But she would kind of call people in a panic, trying to get people to call her back. And it was just exhausting to deal with, quite frankly. And at this point, people started to realize that it was time to just cut Megan off.
I wanted to mention that if I could get bailed out and do some time in an inpatient mental facility, they're willing to knock more time off. Can you help me with bail?
How much time off? What exactly was said? And how much would you need?
The prosecutor was willing to knock it in half if I do a month, 3 months inpatient, but I have to start it before 11 to 22. I need the full amount. I know you don't believe me, but I could pay back same day or next year. I need help and I'm wiling. I'm not going to get the work I need from here. My mom is willing to co-sign.
I don't have $7,500.
It's $6,000.
Don't have it.
Hey, can you message my mom? I got another message from my public.
What did it say?
If I gave you my half-sister contact info, would you text her for me?
I don't feel comfortable being a middleman between you and your family members.
Hey, Justin, can you please help me figure out a way to come up with bail? My mom can't afford her mortgage payment without me.
If that's the case, she should be able to help you get your money out of an account.
Hey, Justin, would you call a bondsman to see what type of payment they take? I have a number.
That needs to be you or your attorney. I don't feel comfortable doing that.
So this is what the texts back and forth were like. And just a couple things. Obviously, these are read by the AI voices of Megan and Justin. Some of those if Justin would push back in any way, she would just kind of drop it, not respond, and then text him back the day later. People had to be putting money on her commissary for her to be able to text people. So at this point, some people were still putting money on her commissary, but it was free for her to call out because other people, when they accepted the call, that's when they would pay for it. So I'm only playing the text messages here because, how many hours of calls can people listen to Megan? But I guess you've listened to hours of this podcast by now, so maybe a lot. But it would just kind of be like this. It's also absurd for her to ask Justin to pay her bail. Again, she knows that Justin's the one that put her in jail. And when she would call and say that she was suffering and she was so miserable, she would say she wasn't eating. She would say that she was sick. She would say that she was going to the hospital to get fluids. It was kind of all a ruse to get Justin to feel bad for her, to give her $7,500. And also just how absurd it is that she said she had money in the account. Like we said, she had been maintaining that she had some lump sum of money stashed away somewhere. But also, Megan had ran from the police before. And she had been trying to run to go to this fake funeral. So we were all on to her. And that's another reason people kept talking to her. Because it was like, what is her next insane thing she's going to say that we can all see through? It was kind of funny.
Hey, I have a fever. I need someone to contact my mom.
I think someone did. How are you today? Did you go to the hospital?
In the middle of crisis.
What do you...
If you decide you want to help me get out and turn my life around, I reconsider.
Reconsider what?
I'm pursuing charges against... my mom is having a heart attack and I'm not there. Please leave me alone. Unless you're going to bail me out, I don't want to hear from anyone anymore. You're playing games when my mom might. Verify it with Curtis. I'm done.
Megan, just stop it. You're not charging me with anything. I've not committed any crime. All of our phone calls have to be initiated by you. You told me last night you were feeling sick, so I asked how you were, and you said, help me get out or I'm pressing charges. If I was actually harassing you or whatever, it wouldn't be conditional. You're just desperate and saying anything that might work to get someone to help bond you out. It's not going to work. Also, what attorney is going to file these charges? You can't even hire one to defend you against 7 felony charges, but you're going to pay someone to file charges against me for a crime I never committed? Try again. This one isn't working, Meg.
Of course, those messages are read by AI again, and Megan's response to Justin's very stern message after she threatened to sue him was just simply,
Post my bail.
It was around this time that the consensus became with the people that were still talking to Megan that it was kind of time to cut the tie here. Clearly, she's delusional. She thinks that we are going to help her get out of jail, and everybody thought, given her behavior, she still needed to be in jail. And not only that, but the calls were adding up, they were getting expensive, and Megan was really mean. Like, threatening to sue Justin is really mean. Also this.
Can you text someone for me?
You just threatened to pursue charges against me and now you need a favor?
Correct.
Why?
Does it matter? You're just making fun of me on the group anyway. My mom might be dying and I can't be there. The least everyone could do is pitch together some money so I can get bailed out and be with my only parent. Please help. You would make a great coach, haha. You do have a calming presence.
Megan, why on earth do you feel entitled to our money to bail you out of jail? Or Megan,
you all can save my mom's house. I'm done. Help, please.
I'm looking into it.
I can't breathe.
So here's where the wheels start to fall off for Megan. She's adversarial again. She's requesting money again. You know the drill by now. But that last text, which was sent on October 17th, again, Justin texted her for the first time 2 weeks prior on October 5th. Alyssa and Alex had been talking to her previously. That last text, when Megan says, I can't breathe, and again, all of those are read by AI, Megan thought that she was about to be bailed out of jail. The same thing that she had been saying to Justin, she had been saying to Alex and to Alyssa, that she was trying to get them to go talk to Megan's mom, even though nobody knew her mom. She said that she had the money sitting in an account and waiting. And eventually, Alyssa just went ahead and followed through with what Megan was asking her to do. So Alyssa called Gail, Megan's mom, and told her that she was going to head down to the county jail and post Megan's bond.
Are you going to bail Megan out?
Yeah, why?
Because it'd be a waste of money.
I know she's got another, she's got to pay that probation fee, but she's already told me she has the money and she'll give it back to me.
Okay, I would just wait on that, Melissa, because until I hear from the lawyer.
Do you not want your daughter out of jail? I'm confused.
Well, she'll go from one jail to another.
Yeah, and she's going to have to do that no matter what. But she said if she bails out, that she can go for mental health treatment when she gets out of the other one, and all the charges will be dropped.
But who's going to pay the bill over in Anderson?
I am. She's going to pay me back. She said she's got like $15,000 in an account.
To me, I wouldn't do nothing until I talk to the lawyer.
Well, she's asked me to do this. She's been begging me for 2 weeks. I told her, I gave her my word that I would.
Yeah, it's just going to be a waste of money and waste of time because she'll go from one jail to another.
Right, and I'll bail her out of the next jail as well. Does that make sense?
I will not sign for her.
I'm going to.
Okay.
Because if she doesn't pay me back, then I'll revoke the bond. And file charges for the money, obviously. But she's assured me that she's got it in an account.
Like I said, I just waited for a while and see what happens with this lawyer. Because,
I mean, I'm not giving Megan any money. I'm going to spend mine. She's going to pay me back the second she walks out. Are you trying to tell me she doesn't have the money? Because I need to know.
I don't know.
This is a clip from a call Alyssa had with Gail, Megan's mom, when she said she was on her way to bail Megan out of jail. This call is from October 17th. Alyssa did this on her own. This wasn't a scheme we came up together, at least Justin and I weren't in on it. And I know Megan will be mad about this being included, and I know people might think this is a little far, but you have to look at it this way. Megan had been begging Alyssa, Justin, and Alex to call her mom almost daily for 3 weeks by this point, maybe longer for Alyssa and Alex. She was adamant that she had money in an account that she could pay people back with immediately should they post her bail. She said her mom could help with it sometimes. Other times she would say her mom was stealing the money, making it more imperative for Megan to get out quickly. So Alyssa called Gail, acting as if she would post Megan's bond, to see if Gail was really a co-conspirator in all of this. Another point I think I've left out up to this point is that for a while police believed Megan was not acting alone, that she may have a co-conspirator, and some suspected it might be Megan's mom. In my opinion, this call confirms what I've always thought to be true. Gail wasn't involved with Megan's schemes. I think learning about Megan's antics was a lot for Gail to come to terms with, and she would hesitate to pick up the phone from Megan in jail sometimes, or there was always a question about whether or not Gail could afford to be taking multiple calls from Megan per day. I also think Gail was looking out for Alyssa without throwing Megan under the bus. To me, it seems like she knew Megan didn't have a bunch of money sitting in an account somewhere, but she didn't want her daughter to get in trouble by saying she was lying. That being said, I think she could tell that Megan was about to scam Alyssa in some way, in the same way that she had scammed others, and Gail was trying to stop it. Megan was crushed when she figured out that Alyssa wasn't actually going to bail her out. She called Justin sobbing, and she would not stop calling the others. In a way, I don't blame her for being upset. On the other hand, Megan was actively scamming Alyssa at this point. She knew she didn't have the money to pay Alyssa back, and she had a history of running from the police at this point. So there was a chance that Alyssa would be out $75,000 if Megan got released on bail and ran. As bad as I feel that Megan got her hopes up, it can't be overstated that she was still scamming, and Alyssa is the victim here. We knew this would continue. It had been a whirlwind for 3 weeks of nonstop calls, attempts to scam for money, attempts to scam for attention. The group of people that I was aware of all collectively decided to stop engaging with Megan for a while because of this. The reason anyone began engaging sparingly was to get more details on the crimes Megan had committed about the Teslas and Tom. Instead, she was trying to commit crimes against the people she was calling. She needed to be cut off. Here's what Justin said to her.
She said she got it from when her dad died. She's got $15,000.
Megan, I've decided to delete this app. I also not going to be taking any more calls from the jail. You continue to tell lies in there. You keep telling different things to different people. You're trying to manipulate us. It's the same behaviors that had us so concerned in the first place. All any of us want is for you to get better. I think continuing to allow you to lie to us and play us off against each other and keep us confused is keeping you sick. You need to be isolated for a bit to really examine your behaviors and thought patterns. I hope you can be honest with yourself and turn it around and get better.
So that was kind of that. Megan had a new trial date in a few weeks, and we all collectively decided to be done with Megan until that trial date. No more acting as a go-between for her and her mom, or her and her attorney. No more enabling her, frankly, sick behavior. After recording this episode, I realize now more than ever that Megan is not serious about getting better. She seems to still think there's a way that she can weasel her way out of the consequences of her actions. Actually, since her sentencing, she seems to have convinced herself that what she did wasn't all that bad. To bring it back to why I'm doing this podcast, even though it almost kills me week after week, especially this week, I've been trolled by pro-Palestinians downranking this podcast, which have shot my reviews on Spotify. So please, if you can, please rate me 5 stars to try and balance that out. But the reason I'm doing this podcast in the first place is because when I look at this behavior, I'm more convinced than ever that Megan has not changed or reformed. She is still manipulating. She's saying things that people want to hear to get them to keep talking to her, and she's still scamming. I have no reason to believe that this doesn't continue when she gets out of jail, which is about a month from when I'm releasing this episode on October 15th, 2024. In next week's episode, we'll get into her sentencing and where things go from here. But for now, thank you so much for listening. I'm Amanda. This is Don't Waste this Effing Podcast, the story of Megan Stoner.